what are we doing in the black community? The number one consumer of a Mercedes-Benz is us. Us. The number one consumer of a Gucci and a Louis Vuitton, us. And they don't even advertise. Why is it that in the black community, we are always the number one consumer, but we're not the number one creators?
So you just said it, the fact that there's consumers and creators. For so long, we assume success based on consumption.
Welcome back to Closing the Gap, the truth about black wealth. Of course, I'm your host, Mr. Wilbert Hamilton, founder of Hamilton Wealth Advisors. Picking back up my man, Mr. T. Mills of T. Mills Realty Group, here in the Birmingham, Alabama area, man. And I always wonder, man, you know, being a realtor, quote unquote,
right?
Being, someone who specializes in helping people, accomplish their dreams. Of course, getting into that dream home.
Right.
What does the future hold for a successful realtor? What is the exit strategy? For those people that are watching that, want to get into real estate and want to become a realtor.
Yeah.
How does that work?
It's a great question. A lot of people don't think about that, right? We're 100% transactional, meaning we sell a house, we make a check. We sell a house, we make a check. But when we don't sell a house,
no check.
Right. So it's cool and it's fun, but after a while, you got to start thinking retirement. How do I get out of this, right? And no offense to nobody that's doing it, but I don't want to be 60, 70 years old still trying to show houses on Saturday, right? So the key is you got to start setting that groundwork now while you're still able, while your brand's still hot, while you're still kind of in your prime, right? It's kind of like an athlete. You can play ball forever. So while you're making those millions of dollars, after you have your fun, you buy what you want to buy, you start investing in something that's going to create you some residual so you can retire, right? So for me, flipping houses was really one way for me to make lump sums of money to buy rental properties that can create some residual.
Okay.
So that's really the whole purpose of me starting a flipping business. It's not just to make more cash and just say I got cash. Take that money and then reinvest it right back in real estate and something that can help me retire, right? Something else that we're doing, First Flip, the TV show,
wow.
Which was not my idea. A lot of people are surprised. I just was saw opportunity and was able to take it. But the TV show, First Flip, that we're doing is going to teach people about flipping houses. But what it's really doing is baiting people up to sign up for our flipping school that we're starting. So everything is strategic right now. And the school will be virtual. You'll be able to register online and it walk you through how to flip houses or whatever. But it's another avenue for us to create some residual income to where I don't have to physically get up and go to work if I don't want to. And I think that's the key. Really in the industry, right? Like, pensions and all that good stuff is not like it was back in the day. When our parents were growing up, they just knew go to work for 30 years, retire, and that's it. Absolutely. Those days are pretty much gone. So you got to be smart right now while you're making money. Me and Will would like nice cars and suits and all that. I'm not going to sit here and like we don't. However, there's a time and place for that. Make sure you secure your future. And so that's kind of, what I'm focusing on now, man. I got the two little ones, 5 and 2, and got to be, taking care of them.
I understand, man, because like I said, regardless of what you're doing and where you are, people that either fail to plan, they plan to fail. So, what I took out of that is, most importantly, that you're looking to the future.
Right.
You're looking to build, you're looking to grow. You're thinking about your family, not just yourself. You're thinking about long term and not just short term. So, for me, I'm always tell people, big believer in our community, we have to understand the art of delayed gratification.
Right.
We become so instantaneous, and when everything right now, of course, we're in this microwave society where people want to get in, they just want to flip house. They want to become a realtor. They want to become, they want to day trade. They want to, trade crypto. They want to do everything because they see an immediate gratification.
Get rich quick.
So what they're doing, and there's no such thing.
Right.
Even if you get it quick, you're gonna lose it just as fast, if not faster, because you don't have the information, knowledge, research, credibility to sustain it.
Right.
Because it's all about sustainability in order to create success. Success is, to me, is consistently doing the right things over a long period of time.
Right.
That is successful. But even within that, you still have to have an exit strategy, like you said, and a financial plan. This is why we always tell people always ask me, who needs a financial advisor?
Right.
And when do I need one? Everybody and right now. Because everyone that wants to retire, either you're going to retire on your terms,
right,
or you're going to have to work on somebody else's.
That's it.
It's just that simple.
Right.
You have to understand that the day you start taking a job and you're introduced to a 401k at work, or you get into a situation where you become self-employed like we are, and you have to take the bull by the horns and create your own pension plan, your own retirement plan. So at some point in time, we can take a step back, because like I said, you love what you do. I love what I do. I'll do it forever and a day. I plan on helping people financially and teaching people how to create generational wealth forever because that's my passion.
Right.
But at some point in time, I want to get to a point where if I don't want to do it, I ain't got to get up out of bed and do it. Or guess what? I decide, you know what, I'm 60, 65. I'm saying I want to take, 2 months off and go and enjoy my grandkids, go to the beach, or, hopefully I got a vacation home somewhere and I'm doing some different things, courtesy and sold to me by T Mills Real Estate Group. I want to be in a position to be able to do that.
That's right.
And without proper planning, without putting the financial plan in order, because the financial plan and the goal of it is to allow us freedom and flexibility. It's not to take away.
Right.
A lot of people, are financial advisors. They have a big issue with real estate.
Right.
And they feel like real estate is taking money out of a person's financial plan.
Right.
Well, too much of anything can be a bad thing.
Right.
And it's always great to have diversification.
Right.
Because usually when one is up, the other is down. Usually, one can counteract and counterbalance the other. So, having some real estate, having, a market portfolio, so having some rental houses and having some money in the market, it works hand in hand.
Right.
Because one detriment I see people who are strictly real estate is they'll have 10 rental houses. And they'll say, well, my house is going to create generational wealth. And I'm like, that's great. But if you don't pass on any money to go with those houses, that actual asset becomes a liability because taxes still have to be paid, maintenance and upkeep. Now, if you don't leave any money but you left the houses, now I need to sell a couple houses to raise the cash to take care of the others. Or a massive fire sale happens. And vice versa. If you have all cash and no cash flowing entities, you may be in a situation where you run out of money. So understanding the balance and having a plan, there's nothing wrong with real estate, there's nothing wrong with the stock market, but having professional help with each one, understanding how they fit together to accomplish a goal that you have for the future is key and paramount to helping us all close the gap.
Living in separate apartments, I was in one side of town, she was in the other side of town, paying rent at both apartments. So I gave him a call and said, hey man, it's about that time.
As first-time home buyers, we had very little knowledge about the home loan process. So Terry was able to connect us with a lender that was able to present us with the best options for our budget.
T Mills Realty Group. It's your dream. Let us make it come true.
Call us today.
Welcome back to another episode of Closing the Gap, the truth about black wealth. Of course, I'm here, your host, Mr. Wilbert Hamilton, back again, picking up where we left off with Mr. Terry Mills, owner of T Mills Realty Group here in the metro area. And one question I always get, man, and one thing I'm always curious to see because, I've known, of course, you and this brother for, amazingly 20 plus years now.
You know me,
And, before the suits and before
when I had the braids with the receding hairline.
Yeah, man. Back when we both had, was trying to have waves and it looked good, man. But one thing I've always appreciated is the work ethic it took for you to come to UAB, show up at practice every day, be diligent about it, and not just be there, but put forth effort while you're there. And people don't understand that, that takes a lot.
Yeah.
I was there and I witnessed it firsthand, and it's the reason why I think a lot of companies, they love athletes.
I was gonna say that
because they always they understand the work ethic that we have, the discipline that we have to have, the structure that we like to have, and those are all a recipe for success. And so tell me a little bit about, man, I know how football has translated for me in my life, and I've took those that same attitude from a competitive standpoint, those same attributes, and push them into now, the business side of things. And how does it help you?
Man, I always tell people, man, if it wasn't for sports, I definitely wouldn't be the person who I am now. Not even just from a professional standpoint, but from socially, right? Like understanding these are your teammates, y'all either gonna win together, lose together, y'all gonna fight together, but y'all gonna figure it out together. Right? But yeah, I agree, man. As you know, I was a walk-on at UAB, which was super, super hard because you still have the full load of a regular student, but you don't have the money of a scholarship student. So having them 6 a.m. workouts, driving back and forth to Belgium a couple of times a day between classes, going to practice, going to workout, and not even hitting the field for 2 years, right?
Yeah, man.
So it's a lot of humility. There's a lot of humility into that, but it also builds character. And that's actually crazy that you asked that question, because looking back at it now, that's what life is, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times you put a lot of stuff in and you don't get that immediate gratification, but going through it as a child makes it okay as an adult. Yeah. And you understand that it's coming. But the same thing in business, man. My first 6 months, I think I touched on it, I sold one house on paper, sold. But I had a lot of clients. I had people that was, getting their credit ready. I had people that was wanting me to sell their house. Not because I knew anything, right? But what they saw me doing. Like I would go Facebook Live in a neighborhood passing out flyers, sweating in the middle of June with a shirt and tie on. No other realtors were doing that. Or I'm getting ready for an open house. They see me knocking on doors saying, hey, I'm Terry Mills. I'm listing 123 Main Street. Come see us Saturday. So people always respect the grind, if nothing else, right? And so it doesn't change later in your career. It just becomes a different kind of grind.
Yeah.
But the grind is always there. So, naming all the stuff we got going on right now, scholarship fund, right? Flipping houses, full-time dad, husband, family man, deacon in the church, doing all the stuff that you got to do. It's never a moment off. Even when you're off, you're not off.
Yeah, you're always
you know what I mean?
You're
Like this is work. It doesn't seem like work, but this is still work, right? And so I think the work ethic is what, helped me become who I am, along with, of course, the blessing of God just opening the doors and allowing me to walk in my path. But like you said, faith without works is dead, man. Nobody's gonna give you anything.
No, and I mean, I see it full circle, man. And just it's funny how life, parallels itself, and you can look back, and I can look back at, okay, your time when you got the UAB and what you were putting in from walking on to being at every practice, being at every workout, being in class, doing what you're supposed to be doing, and persevering.
Right.
And to me, it parallels right to your professional career.
Right.
And it's how you went through your trials and tribulations, ups and downs, but you stayed at it.
Right.
And you stayed diligent, and I'm seeing the rewards start to pay off. And it's kind of funny because I always, life has a tendency to repeat itself. And the funniest thing that I look back on, from my time at UAB is, I remember my senior year, there was of course, a media guide. Of course, I was, captain, my senior year, and, I was on the cover of the media guide.
Right.
And I remember reading the article in the media guide, and I hated the article because the article talked about, my plan for after college was to, go into business and become a business owner in the future. And I took offense to it because at the time I was thinking like, I'm rated as like one of the top left tackles, have a chance to, possibly get selected in the NFL draft. Right. And I'm thinking about an NFL career, or at least the opportunity to have an NFL career. And there's almost like they just bypassed the future and my possibilities. Right. And they didn't talk to me about the article.
Wow.
Like they just wrote it. And ironically, I went back and I read the article
and look at it
10 years later, and I'm like, it literally had played itself out. I'm looking at it was all in God. It was in God's hands. So a lot of times people ask, how do you do what you do? It's like, you can't do what I do. You can't do what he do. But you can do what you can do. So you have to tap in. We have to, as a community, start, tapping in. And the biggest thing I want people to get out of this is that he could hear God because he had a relationship with God. True. You can't hear God if you're not listening to him, if you're not talking to him, having a conversation with him.
Or seeking, asking.
You have to. Yeah. Because if you seek and ask a question, he going to give you the answer. It might not always be the one you want.
And you might go fight.
But it's going to be the answer. And the answer does not change. I don't care when you're asking. You can hear it. You know what? 2 weeks later, ask him again. It's the same answer. But once you accept that answer and you accept that call, I feel like the floodgates open up.
Man.
Now life gets harder at the same time. Like people don't understand. Like when you accept your gift and your calling,
come on.
Life gets automatically harder because now once the devil sees you operating within your gift and he sees the number of people that are going to be affected by what you're doing, now you become a threat. Right. Now I got to attack T Mills.
Right.
Now I got to attack your family and people around you.
The same people that was cheering you on.
Absolutely.
Now they're the biggest adversary. I'll tell you, man, when you go back a little bit when you talk about how life gets harder. So, I touched on suffering a layoff, transitioning into real estate, and I said that kind of skimmed over, but it was a very hard time. You gotta realize my previous career, I come from making 6 figures, working from home, salary, so regardless of what happened, I'm getting paid every 2 weeks, and it was like that for like 7 years. So I wasn't used to being broke, just shooting you straight. In college, I worked 2 jobs. I just never was used to being broke. So, kind of like you say, start asking God to reveal things. God started taking stuff away. I got laid off from that job. But the crazy thing about it was I never was mad. When I got the phone call, I kind of rushed my boss off. I was like, just tell me my last day. Because I've been asking for this. Because I want to do real estate. Like, I want to be here. Right? But what God didn't tell me was he ain't gonna have no check for no 6 months. He didn't give me that
The
part.
process you had to go through
He
to
didn't
get
tell me
there.
how ugly it was gonna be.
Yeah.
But I had good spirits because I knew that was because of the stuff he was showing me. Right? I appeared to be successful and I hadn't even sold nothing. People thought I was this big time agent. I'm like, bro, I don't know nothing. But I work, I answer the phone, I meet with you. I was doing, I guess, enough to show people this is what I wanted to do. Let me tell you when it hit me. I was in church one Sunday. It was probably like the week or maybe the week after I got laid off. And my pastor, they do what they do. He was in the hooting part. He was kind of wrapping up. He just cutting up there. And he said, out the blue, now nobody said, this sermon had nothing to do with this statement.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, and so what you got laid off? You ain't had the courage to quit and do what you want to do anyway. I was like,
Hit you like a tail to breeze, boy.
bro, I'm sweating like I don't know what on that pew. I'm like, that's God talking to me. So that was it. When I heard that, that's all I needed, man. And so it's, you said it. Do what you do. Whatever it is that God is calling you to do it. And don't worry about the haters because they're going to come. Don't worry about negativity because it's going to come. But what's for you is for you. And as long as you know that, you'll be fine.
Well, like I said, man, I think he just said enough, man. I think we're going to, want to thank him for being here, man. It's been a truly an honor and a pleasure. I mean, it's always refreshing, to see, especially a brother, someone that I've known, don't have to know him, but the fact that I do know him, I can appreciate it that much more because I've seen, firsthand, what he's gone through, what he's went through, and what he's continuing to do. And, there's no doubt that we're going to see, T Deals Realty Group all across the, the great nation of the United States of America. I'm looking forward to seeing it grow and expand, in the entire Southeast and here in the near future.
Like
So I'm gonna go ahead and put that pressure on right now. They're gonna step out there on faith because I'm a firm believer, man. If God showed it to you, He gonna bring it to pass.
That's right.
God can't lie. So if you got a relationship with God and you talk to Him and He's revealed something to you that hadn't come to pass, that just means you got to put in the work and it's going to come because He can't lie.
Yeah.
There's one thing about it, ain't nothing read a lie in that book.
That's it.
So if He said it, He meant it.
That's it.
But we got to do the work. So find your gift and get to work, and we'll see you next time.